Okay. Now we move on to the second, in the sense, the third compulsory block of a VHDL model, that is the entity declaration, which needs quite an amount of explanation. So this is the syntax for architecture body, but I will not use a PowerPoint slide for this. I will better use OneNote because there are some things which I cannot write here. So I will disable the presentation and I will go to OneNote. Is everybody able to see the OneNote screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir. Okay, fine. So the syntax for our architecture body goes like this. Please mute yourselves. Architecture So this is how the skeleton of an architecture body looks like. I will read it out. And as usual, all the uppercase words are predefined keywords and all the lowercase words are, free to be given by us. So architecture space arch underscore name of entity underscore name is, then there is some space, then there is begin, and then after few lines it is end space arch underscore name. So please understand architecture of is begin and end. These are the 5 predefined keywords to be used in architecture body. Now the rules which are used for giving entity names and signal names, same rules apply to giving architecture names also. That is arch underscore name cannot be same as predefined keyword. It cannot be starting with a numeral, and the only special character which is allowed in architecture's name is an underscore. Now what we will do, we will use a standard nomenclature of how to give architecture names. We can have the nomenclature as this, that we can say that arch name, that is architecture name, can be entity underscore name underscore arch. Okay, so for example, if my entity name is and underscore gate, then my architecture name will be and underscore gate underscore arch. Okay, that is entity name underscore arch can be the nomenclature followed for giving architecture names. Now very important here is that we see that there are basically 3 markers here. We have 3 markers in architecture body. This is marker number 1, that is the first line of architecture body. This is called as the architecture's begin, and this is called as the end of architecture. Okay, so we have 3 markers in architecture body. The first marker is the first line of architecture. Second marker is called as architecture's begin, and third marker is end of architecture. Now the space between marker number 1 and 2, that is the space between marker number 1 and 2, is called as a declaration part of architecture. And the space between marker 2 and 3, it is called as the logic part of architecture. Okay, so the space between marker number 1 and 2 is called as declaration part, and the space between marker number 2 and 3 is called as logic part. Now we will discuss what is to be written where and what is compulsory. In the declaration part, we can write the following things. we can write down local variables, global variables, we can write down constants, and we can write down dummy signals. So dummy signals are used especially when we want to write the VHDL model for up and down counters. Okay, if we do not have any of these signals existing, means if we do not need them, so this place can be blank. Okay, so it is not compulsory to define local variables, global variables, constants and dummy signals if we do not need them. That means the declaration part can be blank. And for most of the small and simpler digital systems which we want to model, declaration part is completely blank. What is more important to focus on is what is to be written in logic part. Okay, so we already told that the main function of an architecture body is to express the logical relationships between input and output signals. So let us give an example. So just like you know, what kind of clothes a person wears, it is called as a style, right? The thing is that the way a person dresses is called as a person's style. Similarly, the way we express logical relationships between inputs and outputs is technically known as modeling styles. Okay, so just like the way a person dresses is called as the person's style, similarly, the way we express logical relationships between inputs and outputs is called as modeling styles. So modeling styles are of four types. So we can say here, what can I write here? So here I express logical relationships between inputs and outputs using modeling style. So we'll abbreviate modeling style as MS. And there we can have up to 4 modeling styles, and there is a very easy way of remembering. So most of us had tooth pain in our life, and the doctor which we visited for a tooth pain is called as a BDS, that is Bachelor of Dental Sciences. So the same three alphabets can be used to remember the modeling styles B, D, S. So behavioral, data flow, structural. So we have behavioral MS, data flow MS, structural MS, right? So now we have BMS, DMS, SMS, and a combination of above three, that is mixed modeling style, that is MMS, right? So in a VHDL model, the logical relationships between input and outputs can be expressed using one of the following modeling styles: BMS, DMS, SMS, and MMS, right? So BDSM. Now we further go on to discuss that how to identify which modeling style has been used by a VHDL modeler. So um, um, modeling styles basically are characterized by the presence of two types of statements, that is concurrent statements and sequential statements, right? So we'll again classify them as like this, that modeling styles are nothing but a combination of uh, two types of statements: concurrent statements and sequence statement. So all the different constructs which are available in the VHDL language, they fall in one of these two categories, that is concurrent statements and sequential statements. One more thing is that concurrent statements have an independent existence, and sequential statements have a dependent existence. Okay, so what do you mean by independent existence, dependent existence? That means that sequential statements must be embedded within concurrent constructs, and concurrent statements have independent existence. That means concurrent statements can be standalone. Okay, so sequential statements cannot be standalone. Concurrent statements can be standalone. Okay, so let us give a few examples of concurrent statements and sequential statements. So the most famous and the most important construct in VHDL is called as a process clause, which is an example of concurrent statement. Second concurrent statement is with select. Third is when else. And few examples of sequential statements are the very useful and important construct if then else, end space if, it is not end if. Another variant of the above is if then else if, ELSIF, and end if. The third example is the case statement. Okay, case and case. Okay, so if you want to explain the above two statement, that is sequential statements must be embedded within concurrent constructs, it means that I cannot directly write any of these three constructs directly between the marker number 2 and 3. So all these constructs, process, with select, when else, if then else, and case must be written between these two markers, that is marker number 2 and 3. So I cannot write the constructs, I cannot write sequential constructs between marker 2 and 3, but I have to write them within the process clause. Okay, so understand this thing, that these have to be embedded within process clause, while these two, so all three of them are independent. If you want to write any of these three constructs in the architecture body's logic part, I have to embed these constructs within the process statement. Okay, so this was about architecture body. So now what we will do, we will write the architecture body for an AND gate. Okay, so here, so our entity is this is our block diagram. Block diagram has nothing to give and take with the architecture's body as such. So this will lead to entity declaration, and y is equal to a ANDed with b. It will help me to write down architecture body. Okay, one more thing is that this thing, okay, So on paper, if you want to express that the output y is a logical ANDing between A and B, then in VHDL, we will write down the same thing as y space less than equal to A, B, and in between A and B, I'm going to write down the keyword A and D. And then after this, I'm going to put a semicolon. Okay. Okay. So this is known as assignment operator in VHDL. So we say that ANDing between signal A and B is assigned to Y. So we basically read this as Y is assigned A ANDed with B. So please remember that on keyboard, if you want to write down this particular operator, then from keyboard you have to type less than and then you have to type equal to. This is called as assignment operator. Very, very important, right? So please understand. Similarly, if I want to write down y is equal to A XORed with B, I will write down y is assigned A XOR B semicolon. Okay, very sorry. On paper, you don't write down this thing. Okay, so the different keywords which are available in the language are NAND, NOR, NOT, AND, OR, XOR, and XNOR. Okay. Okay. Fine. So now we will write the complete architecture. Architecture. Our entity name was and underscore gate. So architecture and underscore gate underscore arch of and underscore gate is. We do not have any constants, local, global variables or dummy signals. So we will keep the space between the marker number 1 and 2 blank. Okay. So I'll just say comments blank because we do not have anything. And then I will simply go and write here y is assigned A and B semicolon. Simply write down end architecture. That's it. So our entire VHDL model can be summarized like this. So now what we will do, we will write the entire VHDL model for an AND gate starting from library statements. Okay, it will be a revision for you. Okay, so I will just say comments library statements. I will say library IEEE semicolon use library name dot standard underscore logic underscore 1164 dot all. I will say use IEEE dot standard underscore logic underscore unsigned dot all use IEEE dot numeric underscore std dot all. Then I will start with entity declaration. I will write down entity name is port. Then what I will do, I can write both the input signals in one line, A comma B space colon space mode, and the data type is standard underscore logic semicolon. Similarly, if you are having multiple output signals, you can all separate them by commas. You can write down out space logic. Because it is last signal, I will not put a semicolon, close parenthesis semicolon, end and underscore gate semicolon. Now we will start writing the architecture body. Comments architecture body. Architecture name, that is, it is entity name underscore arch of entity name and underscore gate is. The declaration part is blank, begin, and here I will write down output signal Y is assigned A ANDed with B, and then I will just say end architecture name and underscore gate underscore arch. Okay, so right from right, so now we have learned how to write a VHDL model for the proposed digital system, provided we are having the correctly defined block diagram with us and the correctly defined logical relationship between the inputs and outputs using LS, ED and AB. Anybody is having any questions till now? Because we have covered an important part of VHDL language. Anybody has any doubts? Okay, so if you do not have any doubts, then we can start with the different constructs.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, like in entity declaration, we just write end. Can the same thing be written in AB also? Like just end.
No. I have to check this in the tool that if I do not give the architecture name after end architecture, does it accept or not? Okay, so as
Okay.
and when the versions of VHDL have evolved, they have become little more liberal to the programmer. Okay, so we'll have to check it out. So many things I do not know because I have not tried out. The student at their end can answer many questions by themselves by actually typing this VHDL model, which I am showing on the screen, into the Xilinx ISA. Got the point, na? So our
Yes, sir.
VHDL modeling will become strong if you actually execute the VHDL models in Xilinx ISA. That is why I was very much pressing on students to install the tool for their machines. Okay, we can check this out. You can check this out if you have the tool installed. You can do this. Okay. Now, what I'm telling the students is this, that I will now flash the ISA tool and I will tell what the student should do to practice VHDL modeling. Okay. So I will directly flash the ISA tool and we will try to write this whole program in ISA. Okay. So I am having this particular icon, Xilinx ISA. So I'll double click that. Okay, so now we will write the entire VHDL model in ISA, what we wrote here. Okay, so whatever we are written here, we will write here. Okay. So is my ISA screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. My screen is visible. Okay. Okay. So now what I will do is I will start new project, file new project, and whatever entity name we have given here, that entity name I will give. Okay, so already I have made a rule for myself that whatever VHDL modeling I am going to show on tool, I'll be using a particular path, that is C colon Xilinx, and then I have created a folder called as test. So all of my models which I'm going to flash to the students on screen will be here. Okay. So already I'm having an AND gate here. So first I will go and delete it. Okay. Now I will select this particular path, that is C colon Xilinx and test. As soon as do this, that it's here. What I will do here, I will just type and underscore gate. So whatever entity name I want, I will type it. I will say Control A and Control C, so it becomes saved in clipboard of operating system. Then I make sure that out of these four options, I choose HDL. I say next, and then I'll be selecting my lab board, which is none specified. Product category general purpose. Family is Spartan 3E. The device is XC3S250E. So I'll select this. My package is PQ208. So I will select PQ208, and I know that the speed grade is -5. This is called as hardware configuration of board. Now I go down, synthesis tool, only one is available, so XST. Simulators, many are available, but I'm going to use iSim, that is an inbuilt simulator. Preferred language is not Verilog, but it is VHDL. Make sure that you are selecting VHDL as preferred language. And you see here in the introductory session of history of VHDL, I told that the current versions of VHDL are called as VHDL 200X. We are not using that particular version, so please select VHDL 93, and everything else remain the same, and just say next. It gives a summary, and then go here, and after going here, I go in the design window. I select my IC number called as target line, and I right click it and say new source, and then I say VHDL module, and whatever name I give here, an entity declaration with that particular name will be created automatically for us by the tool. So I will say Control V. I will make sure that VHDL module is selected. Make sure that add to project is selected. I say next, and then here you see whatever name I gave in the previous window, that is and underscore gate, it has now appeared as an entity name here. Architecture name by is behavioral. You can keep it as it is, but we want to confirm to the nomenclature we are using that architecture name is entity name underscore ARCH. Here the first signal name is A. Direction, that is mode is same as direction, it is in. Second signal is B. Again it is in. Third is Y, and it is out. In case while using the tool, if I select in, it will come as in, and when you synthesize it, then it will give you an error, because when we write the statement y is assigned a and it will be semicolon, it will immediately give an error that to the left of the assignment operator there has to be an output signal. You cannot have an input signal to the left of assignment operator, so it will generate an error. That is why even if you make a mistake here, no issues, you can always change it there. Okay, still next, and as a finish. Okay, now this is what you are not supposed to do. Okay, so using the library statements written by the tool, accepting the entity declaration written by the tool, and accepting the skeleton of architecture body written by the tool is actually a lazy man's approach. This is not going to help you while writing programs on paper. So if you want to become a good VHDL modeler, so what I suggest is that whatever are the free gifts made available to you by the tool, just say Control A and just say delete. We don't want anything. Okay. So now I will start typing my program. Okay. And I will say library IEEE semicolon use IEEE dot standard underscore logic underscore 1164 dot all. You see how the colors are coming automatically. Use. So what I can do is that I can copy also. end. Just change this to send dot all. Numeric everything we have typed is correct, it will come in standard colors, that is blue and pink. Our library statements are over. Now I will start writing entity declaration. Entity and underscore gate is port, opening parenthesis. I will say A space B space colon in data type standard underscore logic semicolon. I will say Y space OUT space data type, not put a semicolon, close the parenthesis, put a semicolon, and just say end and entity name and underscore get semicolon. Okay, so our architecture ED is over. Now we go into architecture. Architecture and underscore gate underscore arch of and underscore gate is declaration part. Y is assigned A space and space B semicolon and end and okay. So my entire VHDL model is complete with library statements, entity declaration, and architecture body. So I will now check whether it is syntactically correct. So I will go right and say doc, and then I will click this button called as save all, and then in design window I will select the VHDL file, and I'll go down in the process window. I will expand this option and I will simply say synthesize, either double click or right click run. And if everything is correct, that means we have learned how to write the VHDL model correctly. Okay, I'll have to rerun it because we are expected to get a white tick mark against the fluorescent green bag. Yeah, it has come actually. You see here. So we see here that we are having a tick mark, RTL schematic, and gate is there, technology schematic, lookup tables to input LUT from the FPGA architecture, schematic, equation, truth table, and K-map. So it is correct. Now what I will do, we will try to intentionally create some mistakes in the program. So what I will do, I will control this and I will just say tab here. Okay. So now I will try to see if the predefined keywords are case sensitive, insensitive. You see, so we can check itself in the tool that which of the things are case sensitive and which are case insensitive. So we see here, as long as the colors do not change, our modification is correct, right? So initially it was uppercase. If I write down small case, no problem. But see what happens if I put a space. As soon as I put a space between I and S, it loses the color. That means this is not acceptable. Okay. So all the keywords are actually case insensitive. So suppose if I just say, like this, okay, no problem. So keywords are case insensitive. Okay. Now what I will do, as Yash has asked that, sir, if I remove the end entity, what will happen? Let the tool tell us. Okay. So now I will again save it and I will say resynthesize. Any changes you make in code, it will change it to question mark. Okay. So if removing the entity name in the end entity statement, if it is acceptable, then we will get the same tick mark here. Okay. So you see here, we are expected to get a tick mark. Okay. I will say rerun. Okay. It has come. You see here. So even after I removed the entity name after end entity, it is not giving an error. What we will do, we will now remove the architecture name and we will see if it is an error. Okay, again save, and I will again say right click and I will say run. Correct. So we have got an answer to a question which I did not know, that it is perfectly okay if in the VHDL model you do not write end architecture name as the last statement of architecture body. Okay, no issues. But you see here that if I say like this, then the color goes away. But see now what happens. You see? So keywords are case insensitive, but it's a good practice to have keywords in uppercase. Okay, now what I will do, I will do another error. I will change the signal names from caps to lowercase. Okay, now instead of capital A, I will say A. Okay, so now what is in our entity declare in our block diagram, we have used capital A, I'm using small a. So let us see if there is an error. Okay, so I will right click and I will say run. Okay, so now my signal is capital A, I have made it small a in the VHDL model. Let me see what I am getting. It should not happen, but yes, the tool is case insensitive for signal names, but actually we should not follow this particular method. Let it be capital A. Okay, so many such things can be tried at your end. Okay, yeah. So this is how you actually synthesize a model in the tool. We now go back to our OneNote, and is the OneNote screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
So now so now we go to modeling styles. So before I discuss about which are the different modeling styles, we will first learn the different constructs. Okay, and then I will tell you that, okay, if this construct is used, that means the modeling style is behavioral. If this construct is used, it is data flow. If you find these constructs inside the architecture body's logic part, then it is structural modeling style. And if you find a combination of all, so it is mixed modeling style. So let me comment here something, that as far as complexity level of modeling is concerned, on a scale of 1 to 5. So if we say that the complexity of modeling style is on a scale of 1 to 4, then data flow is the simplest, behavioral is little more complex, structural is more complex, and mixed is most complex, because the combination of three. Okay, the simplest modeling style is data flow. Okay, and behavioral is next more complex, structural is next complex, and this. But let me tell you one thing, that the most interesting modeling style is structural modeling style. Okay, so BMS. So what I will do is this. Data flow modeling style, behavioral modeling style, structural modeling style, mixed modeling style. Okay. Okay, so DMS is boring and cheap, BMS is okay, Structural modeling style is difficult but most interesting, and MMS is a cocktail, so nothing more, thrilling about it. Okay. Yeah. How to identify? It's very simple. Okay. So wherever you use process, so okay. If you use a process, it becomes behavioral MS. If you use only with select, it is data flow modeling style. When else alone, data flow modeling style. And if you use this thing, so naturally I cannot write anything here because these are called as dependent constructs written within process. Okay, all of them have to be written within process. So I cannot write anything. Clear? And how to identify that structural modeling style is used? So I can write down SMS is identified by the presence of following individuals in the architecture body of VHDL model. Okay, first is the keywords called as component and component. And second is okay. So if you see these two things inside the architecture body, if you see words like component and port map, you can very well conclude that the modeling style used by the VHDL modeler is a structural MS. There is one clarification here. Please do not think that because data flow modeling style is the easiest, it is used for simple and small digital systems. And then as and when the complexity increases, then you are going to use a behavioral style. And then when it becomes more complex, you use structural modeling style. And if it becomes more complex, you use MMS. No, it is not a fact. In fact, I can write a VHDL model for a multiplexer using data flow. I can write the VHDL model for the same multiplexer using behavioral and using SMS and mixed also. Okay. So please do not have this misconception that simpler the modeling style to learn, smaller is the system it is going to model. It does not happen like that. It is not at all like that. Okay. So for example, in the briefest way, if I want to say that if I want to write down the architecture body for this system, which happens to be a multiplexer, why? Let the name be mux21. I can simply write the statements like this. Okay. So architecture body begin, and I can use data flow modeling style, and for data flow modeling style I will use this particular construct, that is when else. Okay. So I will simply write down here. So the truth table goes like this: S and Y when 0, output is I0, is I1. So I will simply write down here that Y gets I0 when S equal to 0, else I1. End architecture name of entity name is. This is perfect, right? So I've written the architecture body. I've expressed the logical relationship between inputs and outputs using Venel's clause. So this actually is a data flow modeling cell. On the other hand, please understand, when am I expected to write the logic part using structure modeling style? If I express my multiplexer like this, if I express my multiplexer in this way, that is,
हेलो सर, कोई है?
सर का शायद डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया।
are you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, students, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine. So yeah. Yeah. So if I want to write the VHDL model for this block
Sir, it's
diagram, that
interrupting. Sir,
is, if I express multiplexer, a two multiplexer simple block diagram, I can use it for modeling style and I can. Hello. Yes.
Sir, you are not audible properly. It's interrupting in between.
Yes, actually, I'm on hotspot, so I cannot
Okay, sir.
expect that kind of audio clarity. Please bear. Okay. Are you able to see the screen at least?
No, sir.
Is not visible.
No, sir.
Visible now?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Visible now?
Yes, sir.
Visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I got my Wi-Fi back. Just a minute. I'll connect. Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I was telling that just because data flow modeling cell is the easiest, it does not mean that it is used for small and simple digital systems. and SMS is for more complex one. It's not like that. I give an example that if I express my 2:1 multiplexer as a simple block diagram with this kind of a truth table, then I can write the logic part of the system by using data flow modeling cell, that is Venel's clause. But if I express my multiplexer as a combination of and, or, and not gates, then for this system, I'm compulsorily going to use an SMS. Okay, so here the difference is that the mux is here expressed as an interconnection of two AND gates, one OR gate and one NOT gate. Okay, so here please understand one thing, that these three are called as components, and these and these are called as instances of the component. Okay, so structure modeling style is a very interesting modeling style, and I'll be teaching you the structure modeling style by taking the example of a full adder, where we express that full adder as a combination of two XOR gates, one AND gate and one OR gate. That will be very interesting session. Okay, so this was all from my side, wherein we learnt the syntax of architecture body. We actually wrote this was a syntax for architecture body. We saw there are three markers: declaration part, logic part. How declaration part is optional, it can be kept blank. In logic part, we can have 4 different modeling styles, and modeling styles are nothing but the different combinations of statements, that is concurrent and sequential. We saw that sequence statements are dependent. That means they cannot be written standalone in the architecture body. They must be embedded within concurrent statements. 3 examples of concurrent statements, 3 examples of sequence statements, and then we wrote the architecture body, for an AND gate, and then we wrote the complete VHDL model for an AND gate, including library statements, ED and AB, and we typed this particular model into Xilinx ISE, and we saw how it synthesized correctly, and then we also learned how the keywords are case insensitive, and it is indicated by keywords not changing their color. Okay, and then we also saw that how DMS is easiest, MMS is a combination, SMS is most difficult but the most interesting, and then we ended with telling that it is not it does not mean that just because DMS is the easiest modeling style, it is used for simple and less complex or small digital systems. Even if a digital system is very small, I can write the logic definition of that system using DMS or also SMS. Anybody has any questions?